Hi friends, this is Tina here from Under 3 Acres, and today I'm on a bit of a mission. I'm going to see today if I can find some gluten-free preps at 2 different dollar stores. So I'm in a couple of different prepping groups, and a lot of people say if you don't have any money or you're on a really tight budget, go to the dollar store and stock up on stuff there. That's great if you can eat whatever you want, but if you're like me and celiac and you can't eat whatever you want and whatever's cheap, that can be tricky. So I was thinking, I don't normally go down the food aisle at the dollar store. I have on the occasion bought canned carrots and canned potatoes, but I didn't really look for much else because all I saw was a bunch of cookies and things that contained wheat. So today's the day I'm gonna find out if you can get stuff at the dollar store that's cheap, somewhat healthy, and will keep for a really long time. Let's go. Okay, so I'm going to go in. I didn't feel comfortable talking actually on the camera when we were in the dollar store. So I did take some video, which I'll share with you. I was surprised that we found the things that we did. One of the first things I noticed when we walked down the food aisles, they had lots of juice and stuff, but they also had almond milk, the brand that we buy. Now, the only drawback, and it was cheap, the only drawback is that it's really close to expiry date. I picked one up and it'll be gone soon, so I'm not too worried about that. The next thing we saw was canned fish and meat. Now, there was quite a selection there, but what I did notice is that the salmon they had, which kind of surprised me, had wheat in it. And I wasn't expecting that because I've bought canned fish before and it usually just says fish and oil or fish and water. The tuna was all right, and I think the ham was okay. Some of the other ones have some weird ingredients in, but I'm pretty sure they're gluten-free. They had a good selection of canned legumes and canned beans. Again, you have to check each label. Some of them, I think the lentils said that they may contain wheat, or I think it may contain wheat. But we did find some of our favorite beans. These are the Heinz beans. Right now at the grocery store, they're, I think, $1.27 at one grocery store per can, and at another grocery store they were $1.38, I believe. They were $1 a can, so I picked up some of those. So next we looked at the vegetables. They only had carrots and corn in cans. Now, we've bought their canned carrots before. There were no price labels on the shelves at all, but we have bought them there for 2 for $1 before, so I'm not sure. They might have been $1 a can. They might have been 2 for $1. Another thing they had was some snap peas that were like a chip in the chip aisle. That looked interesting, and they were gluten-free as well. They had a little selection of fruit. They had some fruit cocktail. They had some peaches in cans that were okay. They had like the little fruit cups of fruit cocktail. They also had some applesauce. They also had some baking soda, which, you know, is normal, and I like to have that on hand because it's good for cleaning as well as for baking and those kinds of things. But they were almost $1 more than what I've recently paid at the grocery store, so $2.50 a box. It wasn't a great deal, but if you needed it, they have it there. Dollarama also had lots of Jell-O. They had lots of raspberry and strawberry Jell-O, which is also gluten-free. I was specifically looking for some MREs. Those are meals ready to eat, which are great for 72-hour kits, bug-out bags, and to have in case of emergency power outage. I found some rice that just needed to be heated up with some hot water, and also some rice in the can. I tried to show you here some of the ingredients, which includes, there are like a lot of ingredients, which includes MSG and some that I can't pronounce, but they are gluten-free. They contain milk, which is a no-go for me personally, but if you can do dairy, they might be an option for you. There were also a couple of different options of Uncle Ben's rice packages to use that you could use as an MRE. They also had a few cheap tomato products like tomato paste and some pasta sauce. The pasta sauce was even labeled gluten-free. Honestly, I was feeling a little bit discouraged that I hadn't found very many things because there were quite a few things that normally wouldn't contain gluten and they all had gluten in them or may contain wheat in them. But then I hit like the jackpot. They had this huge snack aisle that they had plantain chips. They had of these sesame snaps that are gluten-free. They're just sugar and sesame seeds and chia seeds. And they had some with quinoa as well. Some of these little fruit to go. These are all gluten-free and great to put in. Like I live in an area where we get a lot of snow, so we have a bucket between the front seats that we keep stuff in, like diapers and wipes and stuff like that. And we also keep food in there in the winter if we're gonna be driving, especially at a long distance. And they also had, they had raisins, they had lots of dried fruit, dried nuts, plantain chips. They had quite a variety, so depending on your taste, you actually had a bit of choice there. And again, I like these things for in the backpack or snacks. These aren't things that I would stock up on for everyday use, but these would be great for emergency. And aside from their huge selection of nuts and fruits and snacks like that, they also had, I think, 4 different flavors of rice crackers. They had rice chips, and they were totally gluten-free. They also, the other thing that surprised me I've got here is some freeze-dried. I couldn't believe I found freeze-dried apples and strawberries. I think these would be really nice to rehydrate in some porridge or something like that. Dollarama also had a huge selection of spices, even organic spices. They also had things like salt, which needs to be in every prepper pantry. They also had apple cider vinegar, which surprised me a little bit. And they also had things like flax seeds, quinoa, and chia seeds. All in all, I think we're pretty surprised to find so many things at Dollarama that were gluten-free, and most of them, with exception of that one rice in a can that had MSG and a bunch of other stuff, were pretty healthy. I found Bouillon Cubes, both chicken and beef. They are gluten-free, but not corn-free, and lots of folks on keto diets use those to do fasting. You just pop a cube in some hot water and stir it and let it dissolve, and that can help sustain you for a while anyway. It's got salt in it and it's good as electrolyte replacement. I couldn't get my camera to focus, but I wanted to show you some of the stir-fry mixes from VH. I mentioned in my prepper pantry video the importance of having things to flavor rice, especially if you stock up on lots of rice, so the VH packages that would be great. And they also had some gluten-free soy sauce, which I thought was kind of neat because I haven't found any of that other than the Bragg's soy seasoning that we always use. My 16-year-old really got a kick out of these snacks. He calls them Veggie Chex. They're labeled gluten-free and would be a great option for a bug-out bag or for an emergency kit. They weigh like literally nothing. And then the Dollar Tree also had a great selection of beans. They carried a variety of the same ones that we saw at the other place, but they did have something. Let me just grab that out of my bag here. They had these British style beans. Now, when we got to the cash, the lady told us, well, you know, maybe you'll like them, maybe you won't. She didn't like them. So we thought we'd try them anyway. The difference with these beans than some of the other ones, the other varieties that we've tried, is they're not sweet. They are definitely more of a European flavoring. We're from Germany. Well, my husband's from Germany. And I lived there for a really long time, and a lot of their stuff is more savory, less sweet than North American varieties. And that's what we found. And it was more tomatoey tasting than the other beans that we normally get. There weren't very many options to use as MREs at the Dollar Tree. We found some Uncle Ben's rice, 2 varieties of those. We found some tuna in a pouch, and we found a Spanish style rice in a pouch. All in all, I think our mission to find some gluten-free preps in the dollar store was pretty successful. I was surprised at the amount of nuts and snacks that we found at the Dollarama store, and there were some items that were definitely more expensive at the dollar store than they were at the grocery store. I'm looking at you, baking soda. And anyway, and the juice. The juice was definitely more expensive as well. But there you have it. You can find gluten-free preps at the dollar store. And if you find anything in your local area at your dollar store, please leave it in the comments below. Let's help each other out finding gluten-free preps. We're going into the winter season right now, so you never know when there's gonna be, you know, a road blocked, power outage, those sorts of things. And you always want to make sure you have these kinds of items in your car, because you never know, you might get stuck in traffic. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. and hit that bell to be notified when we upload new videos. We upload 2 new videos a week on homesteading, homeschooling, and gluten-free living. We hope to see you again soon. Bye.